thing that we talked about last night too.
Good evening. Welcome to the Emergency Services Board meeting. Today is June 11th, 2025. Introducing the board, to my far left, we have Ken Hicks, President of the Rescue Association. Next to him is Director Jennifer Utz from the Department of Emergency Services. We have Sean Davidson, San Maria County EMS Chief from the Rescue Squad Association. To my far right, Hattie Norris, the co-chair and representing the Rescue Squad Association. County Fire Chief Ernest Rogers from the Fire Board Association. Filling in for Jason Adams tonight is Vice President Joe Gould from the Fire Board Association, and I am Jay Nelson, the Chairman of the Emergency Services Board. Along with them, the board tonight, we have Marianne and Angel, who are here as support staff from the Department of Emergency Services, and Andrew is behind the scenes running our audio-visual. We will start with our approval of minutes from the last meeting.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the April 9th, 2025 meeting as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Oh my goodness. All right. Committee reports. Do we have any committees?
Nope.
Do we, I talked to Marianne before. Do we have any standing committees?
We do not.
Okay, so,
When we first formed this board, there was a thought that we would carry over some of the committees that had been operating under the previous iteration of the board. But the way as I understood it, and Marianne can maybe correct me if I've got this wrong, but the county board structure doesn't allow for specific standing subcommittees that involve members of the board directly.
so we keep it like it is. The associations run the committees and they present to us.
Correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure there's nothing we need to actually follow up or
Yeah.
review or anything like that one.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We'll move into old business, the emergency services report.
Yeah, good evening. So just a few updates. The microwave replacement project continues to move forward. Harris is currently working this week and next week, starting to replace the routers in all the tower sites. You will be getting advance notice moving forward of any anticipated interruptions in service to make sure that all your members are aware. As the routers are updated, it's updated in basically a 2 to 3 stage phase plan to make sure that all upgrades are put in place and then routers are replaced on the schedule. And then as we move into the summer months and towards the fall, the actual microwaves themselves, the tower climbs will happen. And that will be carefully coordinated with all of your departments with plenty of advance notice because, as those towers come down, they have to be scaling multiple towers at the same time. So we'll coordinate that with you and send you some updated timelines on that plan. The FY26 budget was approved by the commissioners. Part of that was the 45 additional pagers requested by the companies, the 168 radios replacement for fire, and 4 additional radios that were received on the equipment request forms by the fire companies that were missing the balance of their 4 radios to come up to the standard. So a total of 172 radios for fire, 45 pagers for the companies that requested them. Also in that package was the volunteer incentive program, which you all are aware of, that came from this board forward. The completed submissions have been reviewed by DES. Everything is finalized on our side and has been handed over to the Department of Finance and the county treasurer to then start making their, system adjustments on the back end. And then each member that applied for the credit, the tax credit or the stipend, will be notified as it moves through the system. And that will be after the final SDAT posts at the end of July. I believe it's the end of, I say June, I'm going to misspeak here, the end of June. And so it'll probably be, midsummer before, the stipends are cut and the taxes are assessed for the proper rates for next year. But there was pretty good participation in that, and I think each company had a member that could track that for your company throughout. Hiring statistics in DES, Deputy Director Gerald Gardner officially retired effective June 1st. We bid him well, thank him for his service here to St. Mary's County. We are actively in process with a conditional offer of employment for his replacement. And as we work through that process, we'll be able to tell you more. The EMS chief's position, we're working with Sumter Executive Search Firm. The first round of interviews for the EMS chief's position will be held by them in the middle of June, and then we should have our final candidates and a selection made by the first part of July for us. We currently have 12 people in our first EMS academy. We're kind of flipping the script here and being more intentional about getting our employees, our new employees, some in-person time and some training to build some confidence before they go out and do some skills enhancement before they go out with their FTO program. So they'll still do the FTO program, although that will be the shorter side. We'll do the 4 weeks initial onboarding, training, refresher, skills enhancement. We have 10 full-time EMTs, 1 part-time EMT, 1 part-time paramedic or hourly. We have 13 additional conditional offers pending for EMS, and provided they're all successful, we will have our EMS vacancies filled by the end of summer. And the last note, I don't want to steal anybody's fire literally, but we are working collaboratively with the fire department and Sean, that you're back in town, doing an AAR on the carbon monoxide incident over in Lexington Park for our lessons learned, just do a deep dive into that, lessons learned, and our response to that. So I thank Chief Rogers and his team, and Sean will clue you in here since you're back in town.
Yep.
But working collaboratively on that, and appreciate the opportunity to work together as we move forward and look at this incident. So that's what I have. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Just one comment that I'll make in reference to the property tax incentive, just to go back to that. I know there were some people that may have either missed the deadline, didn't submit. There was a few little snafus, nothing I don't think crazy major, but I think it's just, should be noted that now's the time to, the incentive program was put in with the intent of getting the volunteers back, getting them, back in the seats of the apparatus. And now's the time to do that, right? Running your calls now is what's going to get you the incentive for next year. So don't wait till December to, start thinking about
Just scramble
doing things.
around trying to find time.
Right, exactly. So, it's, and I think there were some that maybe didn't realize this program was, coming as quick as it did, and it did move fast, and I think we are very appreciative of that. But I just want everyone to know that, it's here, participate and get your points in, and that will, greatly benefit you next year.
I think we also need to give a big shout out to Deputy Director Shea for the huge lift that she made
Did a
to make
wonderful
that
job.
thing happen. It was, the whole thing was a collaborative effort in the grand scheme of things. But if you got to point to somebody who lifted that load, it was Kirsten Shea. And so we owe her a lot for
A lot of
for
phone calls
what
fielded
she
and questions
did,
answered
chasing
and-
people down and
A lot of background work that
begging
people
people
don't
for
realize she worked on.
information, and I'd also like to, while I'm shouting out your deputies, Gerald Gardner is a human that I've been in the system long enough that I don't remember not knowing who Gerald was. He's a person for whom I have a great deal of personal affection and respect, and he leaves a set of shoes that's going to be difficult to fill. So good luck with that.
Thank you.
And good luck to Gerald. It's a retirement well deserved. He's worked hard for a long time, and I'm pleased that we got to have him in the roles that we did, and the support that we had from him, especially during some of the more tumultuous times we've trudged through.
And I've got 2 quick things. While we're on that topic, talking about the collaboration, when you talk about the property tax and you talk about the after-action review that we've all taken a part of together, more than ever, I think, we're really working together as a team. So, again, just piggybacking off of what everybody's saying, how great of a job we've been doing. The other thing is, this is probably more of a information technology question, maybe to set up a meeting or just get some answers. At our last Chiefs meeting, we had discussed plans for active 911. Now, we have the primary of our paging system and our pagers that we use, but a couple questions were just asked about what happens when active 911 goes down. So a little bit of information that we were able to answer based off the email server that it is. Ironically, the next day we had a slight issue with that. So I guess the question is for information technology, is there a redundancy for active in the event that the email server system goes down? And, not worried about the technicalities of the county government email system as a whole. We're just looking at active, right? Is there a fail-safe in the event that the primary goes down, a way to keep it running? That's what we're just wondering, if there's an answer for that, that we could find. That was something that was brought up.
Not answering for IT. Obviously, Active 911 runs through the email system, right? So it requires the email to feed that Active 911 alert. So the redundancy from the county side is the pagers. So that is the redundancy built in from our side. If you would like a more pointed explanation or some additional information, if you're seeking additional information.
Yeah, I mean, I think that each, let's back up to the pagers as a whole, that the county probably running on close to 10 years now. Really, it was a huge project that they took on to assist the volunteers. And that is still a primary means of being alerted. In today's world, in 2025, everybody relies on these things more than ever, right? So fast forward 10 years, not every member of every department has the ability to have a pager. I know that we work with you guys and do our best to get as many as we can, but at the end of the day, not everybody has one, and more people are relying on this. So, while yes, we still use the pagers as another means of being alerted, we were just wondering if there was any type of redundancy for active as a whole, and that was just the question that was raised. So,
Okay.
that's all I have for that.
Any other questions?
And I just one comment to piggyback off of what Chief Nelson said. And Deputy Director Shea is a workhorse, right? She is just a true consummate professional. And but I also want to shout out to your LoSAP board, Hattie and her team. Excuse me. I know this board did a lot of work on that VIP incentive, but Hattie and her folks also came in several times and helped us out and helped us mine through some of that data on the back end as well. And I just want to make sure that they are also getting proper credit for the hours
Therefore.
that they put in as well. And I know it was a collaborative effort, but just a shout out to Hattie and you and the members of the LoSAP board. So that's all.
All right, thank you. All right, next item we have is the FY25 scholarship update. Angel?
We had 11 applicants for the 25 scholarship. Out of the 11 applicants, 4 graduated this year. So we do have approximately $6,100 that remains from them graduating and not using all their funds. So if possible, we would like to see about splitting that prior to the end of July so that it can be into finance,
Right.
the proper.
This is a request that we make routinely when there's leftovers or returned funds because folks
Right.
weren't able to spend out all of their money.
And we are still waiting on one person to give us bills, but she is still in school, so she has until June 30 to do that.
Okay. I move to approve the division of the remaining available funds from the FY25 scholarship account after June 30 between the qualified applicants for this fiscal year.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Do we have any other old business? All right. The only, the thing I had, and it falls under new business. I know it's not on the agenda, but we, a few months back, a few meetings ago, we had the finance and I think Dave Yingling came
That was
for the
February.
low interest loan. I think it was in the middle of the board changes and everything else.
Yep.
I think and I'll make the request, but I think we want to get them back so we can actually explain what it is that we were looking for or trying to accomplish with that. I think the problem has been with that low-interest loan is that departments aren't submitting in their 5-year plan to get money from that because they know they're not able to because the cap is where it's at. So, you know, you can only have $1 million at a time, and the fire trucks now are well over $1 million. So I'll shoot an email to them, and we'll see if we can get that on the agenda for next meeting. So, all right, no other old business. We'll move into new business. Angel, again, the scholarship application.
I've attached a scholarship in everybody's packet. It's the scholarship application that we go off of almost every year. If you guys can just approve it so that we can post it out July 1st.
Anything changed from previous? Okay.
Nothing changed.
Dates.
Correct the dates.
Yeah. So it's you get them back in August, we review them in September, they come to the board in October, and yeah.
Yes, we just have to make it available July 1st, and we don't have another meeting prior to that.
Yeah, I move that we approve the FY26 scholarship application and allow DES to send the application out to St. Mary's Volunteer Fire and EMS departments after July 1.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Do we have any other new business? Okay, we will move into board member time. Hattie,
I don't have anything tonight.
Ernest,
No, I don't have anything either.
Joe? No report. Ken?
Just to piggyback on what Director said about the mass casualty incident with the CO thing, that it was a all-hands effort, and everybody did outstanding job, and all our people made it up the road and made it back down here safe and sound, so.
Good. Yeah. All right, Jen, got anything?
No, just a quick note, Freedom Fest is slated again for, I believe it's June 28th, it's Saturday. I think we requested some support for that. Of course, the July 4th holiday is coming, so we wish everybody a happy summer and July 4th as we endeavor on the summer months and all that comes with that. And then I guess before we meet again, we will have been gathered to celebrate FRAD, the Fire Rescue Appreciation Day, which is slated for August 9th. Hope to see all of your crews, or as many of your crews and families out there as possible, so we can just be in person to say thank you for everything that your men and women do out there each and every day.
All right.
And Mark is coordinating the assets for Freedom Fest for the,
Yes.
Yes. Mhm.
okay, yep.
All right. Sean?
I love how you leave me for last.
Yeah.
I sit on the Jurisdictional Advisory Council. I represent St. Mary's in the Jurisdictional Advisory Council. And one notable thing that happened there today that I wanted to mention this evening is that they are updating the EMT recertification process. So after July 1st, the way in which we are renewing our BLS clinicians is going to change and line up a lot more with what the National Registry does. So there will be some shifts in the way we're presenting training for folks, and the guidance is forthcoming. But this is the plan is that this will affect everybody who recertifies after this recertification cycle. So they're recertifying folks now in July for the July recertification, and after that, everybody who recertifies in January of 26 will have a whole new process. So just to encourage folks to watch for, especially for my fire partners, where I handheld a longtime EMT from my partner fire department through his application for his renewal this afternoon. It's where I know that, maintain it is a priority, but use it frequently isn't. So they tend to be a little bit less aware of what's going on with that. Yeah, it'll be an easy lift. It's a significant change, but it doesn't require any more hours. It's just a different formatting of how we're doing what we're doing.
Sean, did they say are they trying to align it with the 2-year cycle with National Registry, or are we going to stay on a 3-year cycle?
It'll stay on the 3-year cycle.
Okay.
The way in which it lines up with the registry is that there will be a skills competency module in it rather than a skills class in it. So it's more expecting folks to be able to demonstrate skills rather than reteaching them skills. And it broadens the categories for continuing education. So instead of this chunk of medical hours, the medical hours are divided into cardiac, respiratory, so forth.
A bit similar to the way we did it many years ago.
It butts right up against what they were once upon a time.
Okay.
It's the pendulum swinging.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right. The only thing I had is, again, just to reiterate, congrats to Gerald on his retirement and wish him much success in his future endeavors, whatever they may be. And other than that, again, have a safe summer, safe 4th of July. And that's all I had. So we don't have any public or no public comments tonight, so we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a good night.